The company's called Shepherd.
Okay.
So we are basically a genomic-based precision medicine company in oncology, so cancer care.
Okay.
So I built the company after I was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer called adenoid cystic carcinoma.
Okay.
Dove in and realized that there are hundreds of types of cancer that not only do they not have any type of FDA-approved drugs, they don't have effective chemotherapies, there aren't even treatment guidelines for their doctors to follow. This is more than 500,000 new American patients every year, let alone patients who are diagnosed and initially have a treatment and then progress or recur. So we decided to take basically a novel approach to precision medicine. So from our standpoint, every single human in this room has a different genomic fingerprint, and they actually should get a very different cancer treatment, even if we had the same cancer, same body part, same day.
Right.
So we take a patient's tumor, sequence it, and basically look at that in the context of all of the existing medicines on the market today, and then match a patient with exactly the drug combination that they should receive. So our very first patient we treated was with Mayo Clinic. So this is kind of a big aha moment for us.
That's huge.
So it was a 4-year-old patient that had failed 12 different drugs. She was intubated in the ICU, and her parents had been told 3 times to let her die and put her on hospice. So we sequenced her and then identified a unique 2-drug combination for her. 3 days later, she was playing with the puppy, and 2 weeks later, she flew home.
Wow,
so we joined a national consortium of hospitals. So from our seats, and continue to do this, from our seat there is a drug combination to save the life of almost every cancer patient today. It's just knowing how to match with that level of specificity.
I feel like that makes complete sense, because if it's not approved by the FDA, if the treatment isn't specifically for the specific illness or whatever it is, then it's like nobody's looking at that, because...
Which is so dumb, because the drugs are approved in the indications that stand to make the most money for large biotech and pharmaceutical. It's an economic reality, whether good or bad or evil or not. It is what it is. So, from our seat, usually when we look, so we have about 100,000 patient samples, more than 200 types of cancer in our database that we look at. Any drug will likely work for about 50 types of cancer, but it's kind of like a bell curve, a distribution. So the pharma companies are going to focus on the 2 or 3 cancers where they have the biggest return, and basically everyone else is left out. So we exist to hopefully solve that.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yes,
well, I can't wait to have you on the longer version of the podcast. I have so many thoughts on this topic, and there's so much to talk about, and as there are so many cancer survivors that could get behind this movement to help other people. So
we hope so. Yes, ma'am. I'll say one more thing. We built this technology, and a lot of folks early on pushed us. Well, why would you build a patient company? Why not do drug development? You can make so much more money, and that just infuriated me. So I've always wanted to build a patient-first company that made this available to people now. And I think the economic underpinnings of how this is funded and how we build this is really important. So we are hoping that we can be truly a patient-led movement and even a patient-owned company. We think there needs to be a patient company owned for pharmaceuticals and treatments that isn't going to be subject to the economic constraints that big pharma have to operate under.
Like, how do you stay healthy and fit now? So what are you doing?
I use most of the brands in this room, actually. So I dove into this world, so I sleep on an 8-sleep mattress. I have Oura Ring and Whoop on right now. Big AG1 guy.
Me too.
I just finished up officer selection for the SEAL teams in the Navy when I was diagnosed 8 years ago. So I missed that. So right now I'm training for a 250-kilometer ultramarathon across the Atacama Desert in Chile with some friends.
Wow, that just sounds beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And the endurance training has just been incredible for my mental health. Endurance training, if you look at endurance training head-to-head with antidepressants approved by pharmaceuticals, endurance training outperforms. So food, exercise, all the stuff your grandma told you, right? That's really what my Oura Ring tells me, is just listen to grandma. But it works. So
that's awesome. Great, thanks for hopping on here.
Thank you.